Conjuring 2 is the sequel to 2013's The Conjuring, directed once again by James Wan. This film also focuses on another true case from Ed and Lorraine Warren, this time taking place in London, Einfeld, where a family is being tormented by this ghost who claims that they're trespassing on his property. One girl in particular in the family is having a really rough time, so Ed and Lorraine Warren have to deal with it while also encountering maybe some other ghosts that are in the house causing trouble. Now, a month and a half ago, I watched the first Conjuring movie for the first time, and I absolutely loved it, and I watched it again in preparation for The Conjuring 2, and I still really love it. I think it's one of the best horror films of this decade, and with The Conjuring 2, and normally people would probably be really scared about this movie because it's a sequel to a horror film that was good and successful, and now they're doing it again. However, I think everyone's skepticism was put to ease when they announced that James Wan was coming back to direct. And I gotta be honest, guys, if anyone else directed this movie besides James Wan, I don't think it would have been as good. The Conjuring 2 is a really, really great horror film. The thing about James Wan is he knows how to direct horror. He understands the craft of it. He's not one of those lazy horror filmmakers that just puts in false jump scares everywhere or really forced and unnatural jump scares. James Wan knows how to scare you. There are jump scares in this movie, but they don't feel forced and they are not false. I can't think of one false jump scare in this film. That's how good James Wan is. The thing about the scares in this movie is that he builds suspense with them, and the way he builds the suspense with the sound design, the score, and the cinematography, it's amazing. This movie gave me anxiety throughout because I did not know if something scary was actually gonna happen. There's one scene where Patrick Wilson, and it's literally just a lighthearted moment with the family, but I was still anxious about the whole movie because I didn't know if something was gonna pop up behind him or not. That's how good James Wan is. He knows how to scare his audience, and with me, he did it. He startled me. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga once again are really good as Ed and Lorraine Warren. They have good chemistry with each other, and they actually have a really interesting arc involving a nun. And speaking of that nun, man, that was really scary. One scene in particular involving the nun, Vera Farmiga, and an office, I'll just leave it at that. That scene was really scary. And the worst part is that nun is getting its own movie. Like, you know, in the first Conjuring, they gave Annabelle her own movie. They're doing the same thing here with the nun. So I'm gonna be scared forever, unless they do a bad job with it like they did with Annabelle. I think they learned from Annabelle. I think they'll do a pretty good job with this nun movie. However, if I could suggest a spin-off of this movie, can we get a movie about the Crooked Man? That thing was awesome. It was really cool, it was really scary, and I learned that it's not CGI, it was an actual dude doing that. That was cool, man. The big part of this movie, though, that's gonna make or break it for some people, do you care about the family? And that was the same with the first movie. If you couldn't care about that family, then you were probably not gonna like that movie. I cared for that family, so I enjoyed that movie. The Conjuring 2, I once again cared for the family. You could actually tell they have a history with each other. You could feel their torment with this ghost, especially Janet Hodgson. I don't know who plays her, but that girl actress did a very good job in this movie. I couldn't help but feel bad for them because not only are they in a sad time in their lives, but then all of a sudden these crazy paranormal things are happening. I felt so bad for them. Overall, this movie is exactly what horror films should be. Characters you care about, good performances, good scares, good direction, good cinematography. Everything about this movie is what a horror film should be. And if I had to complain about it, I'd say that there's one part that happens involving a character who thinks the whole thing is a hoax. What this character does and how it impacts the movie at some point, it honestly just made me question it, like, how would this change anything? Because this, and this. But overall, I love The Conjuring 2. Not only is it one of the best horror films of the decade, not only is it the best horror film of the year, but it's one of the best movies of this year. I'm gonna give The Conjuring 2 an A. This movie is spectacular. I honestly feel like watching it again. I want to be terrified again. That's how good this movie is. And I'm usually not a big horror guy. Like, I have problems with some horror films if they do it really well, though. Then I really love it. And James Wan did this movie extremely well, and I love this movie. But if you saw The Conjuring 2, leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and as I mentioned in my last video, I'm going to be reviewing the first two Ghostbusters movies since I'm not going to be at my house. I'm not going to be home at all when the remake comes out. So I'm going to review those two movies in order to tide you over until I get back home and I can review the remake. And as always, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.